Welcome to the Christopher Jimenez Show. This will be episode 7 of the podcast, and this coincides with the news of Disney purchasing Lucasfilms and announcing that they want to create an episode 7, 8, and 9 of the Star Wars saga, the ongoing Star Wars saga, which this podcast is not about, but I just thought I would mention it. That episode 7 coincides with that little bit of current events. As I was thinking about the podcast and the things I've done, the things I haven't done, I realized that I have not provided a way for my listeners to connect with me, and that is a huge, huge faux pas in this age of Web 2.0, of interactivity and everybody feeling like they can communicate with each other, and I certainly am open for communication. Therefore, I am going to go ahead and do some self-promotion, which is what I have not been doing for the past 6 episodes. I will begin now with my Twitter handle. You can always hit me up. My handle is CJMNZ8. That is C for the first letter for my first name, and I basically dropped all the vowels out of my last name. So it's C Jimenez 8 without any vowels. Ask me any questions about the podcast. Any questions about what I've talked about, challenge me. I'll go ahead and take a look at what my thinking was. Perhaps I'll answer you over the podcast and verify or change my position on a statement that I may have made in error. I'm always open to reevaluating what I said in light of new information, at least new information to my ears. You can also find me and my writings on theology and Christian living on the website wetalkofholythings.com. That's wetalkofholythings.com. I write about theology, Christian living. Anytime I preach a message, I try to get my notes up on there, and the recordings for my church, Bible Truth Chapel, are put up online, and I will periodically shout out when my messages go up or when a new patch of messages come up. That'll be Sunday morning sermons, Sunday evening sermons, as well as Wednesday evening sermons. So stay tuned to wetalkofholythings.com for that. You can also find my writings on literature, library and information science, and general writing at goawayreadbooks.blogspot.com. Again, that's goawayreadbooks.blogspot.com. Again, I write about literature, my readings, book reviews, those sorts of things. Library and information science. I am currently enrolled in a library and master's program for library and information science through the University of South Florida, and I'll be posting various thoughts from my frustrations, even from my grad school experience there. If you notice anything about We Talk of Holy Things and Go Away Read Books, it will be that it's heavily influenced by the movie Nacho Libre, and that is one of my favorites, if not my most favorite movie ever. I think it is absolutely hysterical. That should say something or other about my personal tastes, good, bad, or indifferent. Anyway, let's get on with the program here. This is Saturday, and as you may know, today was the Miami Youth for Christ Wow Walk. We spoke with Glenn Craig earlier, the CFO and director of the Juvenile Justice Program for the outreach for the Miami Youth for Christ, and it was a great discussion. He touched on leadership. He touched on how to be relevant with a message that's relevant to youth in this day and age, without ever changing the principles or shifting your stance when it comes to doctrines of Scripture. It was a great talk. We talked a bit about the Wild Walk, and it was everything that he had promoted. It was a fantastic time, a phenomenal time. I had a blast. I walked with my friends from the church. I walked the whole course looking at animals, smelling the animals, and all that great stuff. So it was a good walk. It was a 5K. Supposedly, of course, my app says that we actually walked 3.45 miles, but that's okay. And yes, we definitely walked it. It took us it took us exactly 1 hour, 13 minutes and 44 seconds. That is a personal record of mine, a record long time for a 5K. But that's all. It's all good when you're with friends and such. Our pace was a 21 minute 24 second minute mile. And the app said that we burned 342 calories. Now, a note on the mileage. I did say that we walked 3.45 miles. I understand that these apps aren't necessarily precise to the T as far as what the GPS is concerned, the burning calories, the pace. It is an approximation, fairly accurate approximation, but still an approximation. Now, clearly, 3.45 miles is closer to 3.5 miles than it is to 3, and clearly the course was a bit longer than a 5K. That's fine. I don't really care. It was a great time, a lot of fun. Again, we had a blast. Our fastest mile was an 18-minute, 50-second mile, and what it was really about, and this was the third 5K that Miami Youth for Christ has put on, and it was actually the biggest. It's growing every year. Every year it's bigger, and bigger. And I would hope that they're planning for next year to make it a bit more, maybe a little more organized, maybe a little more structured and formal, to be able to handle a much larger group. Because if it grows exponentially, or even on the pace that it's growing now, it's going to be absolutely, it's going to be huge. And the goal, obviously, was to raise some money for Youth for Christ, for their outreaches, so that they may reach the greater Miami area with the gospel effectively. And they gave out little prizes for the first team to register, the most spirited team, which we very well could have won. I just got lazy and I decided not to push for some more spirit, but we easily could have won with our team name, the Juvenile Justice League. We could have come in dressed like the Flash, dressed like Batman, dressed like Aquaman, Supergirl, Superman. We could have been a really cool looking team, but we decided not to. Last second. But really, the most important was who raised the most money, and this one lady was pretty amazing. This one lady raised over $6,000, over $6,000 for Youth for Christ fundraising. That was incredible. And I tipped my hat off to her. I wasn't really paying that much attention. I just kind of heard them talking over the microphone, over the PA system, and my ears perked up when I heard $6,000. I was like, whoa, that's a bunch of money. So I tipped my hat off to her. I didn't catch her name, but that was awesome. However, since it wasn't exactly a physically demanding time out there, I decided that I would run later, because I was scheduled for a long run today. I came home, watched a movie, stayed in bed, kind of took a nice nap, about 40 minutes or so, just to kind of freshen up, stayed off my feet, and then I went out for this long run. This is actually the longest scheduled run that I've been scheduled for in this program. Again, I'm in a program to try to get myself up for a half marathon in February of 2013. It was scheduled to be 50 minutes. I ended up going out there and staying out there for 56 minutes and 33 seconds. I traveled 5.28 miles. My overall pace for the whole run was about a 10-minute, 42-second minute mile, and I burned 457 calories. And my fastest mile was a 9-minute, 7-second mile. Now, I miscalculated how far I would be able to go in 50 minutes, so I ended up, finishing up with the scheduled run early, and I still had to kind of make it into my home, and that's why it went over time. Now, I want to talk a little bit about my run, really particularly review this product that I use today called Goo, that's spelled G-U. I've heard a lot of people talking about it. I've seen tons of little Goo wrappers just kind of thrown there on the side of the road, on the side of the golf course, I should say. I blame the Cuban cyclists, and I am Cuban, by the way. The Cuban cyclists, they kind of, and any cyclists that are around, not necessarily Cuban, but they are fairly obnoxious. They throw their trash everywhere, and it's kind of gross. But yeah, my wife won some kind of contest recently, or a few months back, and she received a lot of running products. She is a Girls Gone Sporty ambassador, which is actually quite cool. She gets a lot of free things. She gets special privileges to get into races and such. So and in fact, she's actually running in a pretty muddy race next Saturday, which I'm scheduled, or I'm trying to get into to volunteer as a helper for that race as well. But this Goose Stuff, supposedly you're supposed to take it 15 minutes before you start a run, and this run is supposed to be like at least 45 minutes. So every 45 minutes, you're going to eat one of these goo packets. As far as the taste is concerned, a lot of people are concerned with taste. My stance is basically, look, this isn't dessert, this isn't candy, this isn't, I'm not ordering this from a fancy restaurant. This is a product that's supposed to help me with my endurance. It is not the best tasting thing in the world. I don't think it's that atrocious, but that's my take on it. That's my stance on basically any of these things. Even the post-running, protein shakes. I just think that whatever, they're supposed to help me maintain my body. As long as they work for that, I'm good. The only thing I didn't like about it was that the goo packet that we were given, that I used, contained caffeine, and I definitely felt that caffeine high, and then the drop. Now, you heard my stats. I think I did fairly okay for a long run, keeping at that 10:42 pace. After about, let's say, half the run, I want to say the 25 minute mark, 28 minutes, I felt that drop, and I felt like I was out in the middle of a major street, on the side of a major street, I should say, on the sidewalk, running, and I just felt like curling up on the side there in the grass and just going to bed. I just wanted to drop and sleep. I didn't want to run. I didn't want to move. I was out of it. It wasn't fun. I had to push myself through. It seemed to drop a lot faster than it was supposed to. Seeing as it's supposed to be a product that lasts 45 minutes, it didn't even last 30 for me. Clearly, this is the reason why you use these products while you're training, not on the race day, because that would have been absolutely horrific if I thought, hey, let me try this Goose Stuff on a race day. Hey, it'll make me run faster. It'll be great. And poof, it doesn't work. It drops me. I feel like falling asleep. This is the middle of a race. What's going on? That's why you train with it. Supposedly, now I'm definitely going to try other products, and as I try products and find the one that works for me, I'll continue using it, and my body will get used to it, and we'll be able to use it then in races, hopefully to benefit me. Now, clearly, the goo is not necessarily so much for performance as it was also for shortening of recovery. I suppose I'll talk next time about how my recovery is going. Did I feel better after? Do I feel better tomorrow, Sunday? Monday. So we'll talk about that later. Now, I do have another review, and I guess you can call this the Goo and Shoe episode, because I did recently purchase shoes, new shoes, a couple weeks ago. I purchased the Nike Lunar Glide 3s. I also run with the Adidas Oscillations. Now, my Adidas Oscillations have about 200 miles on them. They were my first, real pair of shoes that I purchased with the intent of training for running, for runs. It is a minimalist type shoe. It's very, very thin. The Climate Cool They're super flexible. There's hardly any tread on it. It's just thin, small. I love it for my faster runs. I feel like I'm just flying when I have them on. My feet never drag. I'm able to pick up my feet really fast, really easily. As far as the Nike Lunar Glide 3s, like I said, I've been running in them for about a week and a half, 2 weeks. I still feel like I haven't broken them in quite yet. I did some reading. I tried them on. I also compared them to like the Adidas Boston 3s, the Marathon 10s. I compared them to some of the Asics, some of the other shoes that were intended for longer runs. I based on price, based on how they felt, I ended up going with the Lunar Glide 3s. Now, this pair, and I was looking for a heavier pair, something with more support for my longer runs, and it's definitely heavier. Now, by heavier, it's not like they have bricks attached to them. I mean, they're super light shoes. The only thing is, when compared to my Oscillations, you can definitely tell that the sole is thicker. The sole is denser. The padding, the padding on the sides is denser. The inserts are denser. Even the tongue is denser. So the whole thing from top to bottom is just a thicker, bigger shoe. It's definitely very comfortable as I run longer runs. The only thing is it's heavier, so I've found that I drag my feet a little bit. So I have to learn to pick up my feet a bit more so I can run and keep up that pace. And that brings me to this thought that I've never really considered, and that's the idea of treating your shoes as tools. I've never really considered a pair of sneakers as tools. I did play some volleyball in my high school days, and school did provide a pair of shoes that I needed to buy and use, and I liked them, and they were great for volleyball, but I never really thought twice about them. I suppose that my coach did think about them and did select them based on their technical merit. But it is true what they say. I mean, you got to find that shoe that fits you and that works for your purposes. And I believe I've found a couple pairs of shoes that do that. I would definitely recommend these shoes, the Oscillations or the Lunar Glide 3s. I believe they came out with the Lunar Glide 4s, though. That's probably why I got them so inexpensively. Another thing I like about the Lunar Glide 3s is their reflective technology. I do a lot of runs at night after I come home from work and feed the dogs or walk the dogs and do a few things at home first that I need to get done, responsibilities and such. So, and that's nice that they reflect some so that, I can be a little bit safer out there on the road, which is always a concern for any runner at any time, really. I mean, you can, you're the small guy out there. You may have the right of way, but that doesn't really help your case if someone's driving dumb. So, I think I've talked long enough for this episode. I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Just remember that you can talk to me. You can connect with me. My Twitter handle again is CJMNZ8, and my web blogs are wetalkofholythings.com and goawayreadbooks.blogspot.com. Thanks for listening.